It was really reassuring to see over the past couple of years that evidence come out pretty strongly in support of it. Managing inflammation, upregulating certain neurotransmitters. It's just such a great way of starting the day.
What are you seeing coming through your front door in your office in terms of issues? What are you seeing as an opportunity right now in your field?
A lot of mental health right now, just like exploding at this time. We only see or get this perception of this immaculate, perfect image when we look at social media, and then we think less of ourselves. Coca-Cola Classics to this day, I'll see that can and I'll lick my lips. Like
Nothing.
very effective.
Welcome back, everyone, to the If You Build It podcast. I'm Riyadh with my amazing hosts, Saman and Will.
Hello.
You got to do that.
I had the cough, guys. Life is.
You have to time it better next time.
Well, I know we literally had an hour. I had to go up at that moment, but hey, that is life.
As always, thank you for tuning in, guys. If you can please like and subscribe to the video and to the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you have any comments, questions, drop them in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to answer them live.
You know, I know many people in my life. I don't want to talk about being popular, but I'm pretty popular. I'm a pretty big deal.
I can attest.
When I first moved to Whitby, almost 35 years ago now, I had the luxury of meeting a fat Indian kid named Romi Raina. We didn't go to the same school, but we shared a friend. So I saw Romi probably once or twice a month. Then we went to high school together.
That's right.
And we saw each other a whole lot more. And Romi's goal from the moment I met him was to change people's lives and to become a doctor. I believe that's as long as I've known you, 34 years?
Right since then.
That long.
Yeah.
At the age of 11, when I met Romi, or 12, I should say, Romi also had a beard. That's a fun fact. But I'm so happy that Mr. Romi Raina, Naturopathic Doctor, is here with us today. Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you, Willard.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys.
And first question is, why are you still friends with him?
Well, it's been a rocky relationship. Let's say that. I wouldn't say we were friends at first sight necessarily.
I think we always were friends at first sight. I mean, high school years were fun.
Yeah.
I think as a high schooler, you were pretty uptight.
Well, let's say I learned a lot from knowing Will. And it's a path of
good
discovery.
or bad things.
Like learning's always a good thing, let's say. Yeah.
But I think I taught you how to just relax, didn't I?
Maybe so.
I think so.
Maybe a little bit.
Romi he wrote for the school paper. He was on student council. When he spoke, I remember his speech. He made a speech in grade 11?
Well, which speech are we talking about here? Because there was a good speech and there was a not so good
student council election. And your hands are shaking like this, like you're trying to open up a jammed door. And you were so nervous. And now this guy hosts conferences and speaks all over the province and teaches. And so it's just nice to see your progression over the last 34
progression
years.
For sure. Well, then there was the English class speech. I just put my hands on the table.
Yeah, you were very serious, but you were also extremely smart versus me. So that's another thing as well. But then
too easy.
No. Well, it takes one to know one. You know, you shine a lot of light on me, and so I'll shine it right back on you.
What are my best qualities?
You're very vocal, let's say.
True.
Let's put it that way.
That is true.
You express let's put it this way. You express your authenticity, which is actually a rare gift. A lot of people don't do that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and for the viewers out there, we paid him under the table for this.
Yes.
So this is about you now. Tell us a little bit about your business and, how many years and, just give us the background.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I roll in, I have a few different roles. I have a couple of different business roles, but first it came out of naturopathic medicine. In the province of Ontario, naturopathic medicine, you got to be a business owner at the same time. So yeah, I'm a primary care physician. And in a lot of ways, the work I do is similar to medical. Like I'll see a patient, I get to know them really well. I come up with a bit of an assessment and a treatment plan, and we go from there. But there are differences. So it's not an OHIP covered kind of medicine, but then that means I also spend a lot of time with my patients. So an intake is like an hour, 15 minutes. Follow-ups are around half an hour. Gives me a lot of time to dive deep into the details, get to that root cause place, get to that holistic view, get that detailed picture of the patient. And in doing so, you hear the patient's story, which is, I think, a bit of an issue in medicine today. Is it's been a bit of a mill. People are in and out, and they feel like, did that doctor even even look at the condition, let
Yeah.
alone anything else. So getting to know a patient that way. And then another major difference is in the therapies I provide. So I don't give pharmaceuticals, I don't do surgery, but I do nutrition, which is the backbone of naturopathic medicine. Lifestyle medicine goes along with that. And then I get into other nutraceuticals, botanical medicines, homeopathy, acupuncture. And it's kind of like, when you go see a doctor, sometimes they'll say, not all the time, obviously, but they'll say, oh, that's unpleasant, but it's fine. There's nothing I can do about that. It might be minor in their eyes. But we come at medicine with multiple lenses. So we see the Western side of it, we see the Eastern side of it, and we can bring that together. So that's a naturopathic bit. And I did that for a few years in Whitby, built up a practice, and it was busy. But I got to say, I got a little bit bored. It's a lot of one-on-one. And you don't work with a lot of other people. So then I got into the college. I'm faculty there. I'm still there. So I've been practicing for 17 years thereabouts. I've been at the college for 12 years. And then 9 years ago, I started a naturopathic continuing education business where I run an annual conference. We just did our 14th conference 2 weekends ago.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's been really nice. We did Vancouver sites and we stick in Toronto now. And then we also host an online library of CE videos. And that keeps me a little bit busy on the side. And now I'm kind of redirecting my practice more to the virtual space. More people are comfortable with that. So that's a new launch that I have coming on the horizon. And really now I'm in sort of this maturation of the profession where I'm getting involved. I'm actually spending more time volunteering for furthering the profession. And that's sort of been the latest thing that I've been up to these days.
And what were you just appointed to?
Yeah, so this is sort of what yeah, exactly. Good segue, Will.
Well, yeah,
well
thanks.
done.
I didn't have a choice
Gave you
here.
that one. When you've done all those other activities for a number of years, you want to you're always thinking, what's next? And in this way, how do I apply my knowledge, skills, and experience in a way that helps the profession as a whole? So yeah, there's a Ontario Association of Naturopathic Doctors, and yeah, less than a month ago, I was elected to the board of directors there. Thank you.
Very good.
But
Amazing.
we have our work cut out for us. Like right now, naturopathic medicine is at a bit of a crossroad as far as how it's serving the public. So back 2007, we moved on to the Registered Health Professionals Act, meaning, so we're getting a little bit political here, but meaning that we're on the same act as all the other health practitioners, like nurses, doctors, like you name it. And so we have this kind of green light in the legislation, but politically, we have roadblocks in front of us as far as how we can actually get into the healthcare system and actually serve the people of Ontario, which is critical right now. Obviously, there's like a looming full-on healthcare crisis.
Yep.
Like right now, grads of med school in Ontario, very few of them become family doctors. They're all going into specialty. And they see a broken system. They see that there's a lot of burnout. So they're choosing basically higher pay for less work.
Yeah.
And then that leaves the public without, it's already hard enough to find a family doctor. It's going to get worse. There's something like 2.3 million Ontarians that don't have a family doctor currently. So I was actually I was in Queen's Park on Monday. And
You're in it or at Queen's Park?
At Queen's Park, and I was meeting with a couple of MPs. And so we're really driving the conversation. And I was actually quite surprised. I met with someone who's an assistant to the Minister of Health, and he understood the concerns. Like he was actually fairly open. He understood the problems that we see, the ask that we have, which is an expansion of scope, so that they'll then say, oh yeah, these guys can get in there and do the job. We're probably as educated as just about any other healthcare practitioner, except for medical doctors.
How many years of schooling?
So it's 4 year. So you got to get your science degree, then you got a 4-year degree, and then you have 1 year of internship.
So and
then you got to do like sets of board exams. Like I've done 4 board exams over the course of my career. They added one partway through in pharmacology, and it's just so that we can get in. Like it's like, you're down a man and you're in the 4th quarter, and you actually have a sub sitting there. You're just not using them.
So what's the biggest red tape in your business?
It's regulatory. It really is. So like I always have this vision of a bathtub that's overflowing, and yet the faucet's on full bore, and it's just regulation that's clogging the drain. So if they can expand our scope a little bit, so that we can actually use our skills a little bit more, then they can start employing us into like family healthcare teams, integrated health units, and things like that. But it's almost like conceptual. Politicians just haven't in their mind viewed naturopaths as people who can get into the primary healthcare scene. They think that, and it's an antiquated view, So that's why we meet with the MPs. That's why we just want to sort of force the conversation and change the view that they have.
So how are you guys different from pharmacists? Because now pharmacists are able to prescribe, certain treatments.
Right. So
how do they get the pass, but the naturopath doctors?
So that's a really good question. So they had to fight for it.
That was a good question. Thanks, Saman.
Yeah.
Bringing
in the insights.
He YouTubed it first.
I thought you were Googling on the side there.
Yeah.
But they had to fight for it. And they got a lot of pushback actually from the Ontario Medical Association. Medicine's a bit of a turf war. But they got it. They got the ability to do that. So pharmacists, usually their job is to dispense only. They get the script from the medical doctor, they fill it, they dispense it. But now they can actually prescribe without the actual script from a doctor. And so the upside is, you alleviate the burden. The downside is, though, they don't have a method to actually interview a patient, make an assessment, make a diagnosis, and then write the script and make the prescription. So they're skipping a few steps. Whereas we do that. And like I say, we spend quite a bit of time doing that as well. And so the fact that they were able to get that right, and also nurse practitioners are getting that as well, who are well positioned to do so. But the fact that the pharmacists got it, I think makes it encouraging from our point of view that we should be getting things like that too.
And it sets that precedent one party is able to do it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, this is If You Build the Podcast, brought to you by, look, I forgot to do that. Brought to you by, guess what, everyone? You can save up to 50% on blinds and shutters.
Hey everyone, Riyadh, Will, and Saman from the DR Group, and we have some exciting news for you.
We are finally launching DR Home.
And this is your opportunity to get your custom blinds and shutters for up to 50% off compared to the market.
Now we're back. What are I have to ask this. I always ask whenever I see you, even when we're not doing a podcast. What are you seeing coming through your front door in your office in terms of issues? What are you seeing as an opportunity right now in your field?
A lot of mental health right now, just like exploding at this time. Like we thought it was just like a post-pandemic bump up, but this is just going up and up and up and up. Like it's just,
So how do you deal with that naturally?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, right, like the natural space is almost like an excellent space to do that. So first of all, like let's just talk pills, like natural pills versus pharmaceuticals. In the research has developed quite a bit. So when I graduated almost 17 years ago, if I looked at the research, it was very underdeveloped. You would look at animal studies, you would look at experimental models, and not very applicable, to the point where in the beginning I wouldn't even look at it. But it's transformed so dramatically. So now when I look at it, we see large scale human clinical trials, massive analysis of the data, and we can see equivalency of certain herbal applications with known pharmaceuticals as far as outcomes and things like that. And yet the safety profile is way better. So we do have those tools. But then what's even more important is beyond the pill to subdue the symptom is to actually get to the root cause. And that's where naturopathic medicine really shines. We can sit with the patient, actually talk out those problems, talk out the solutions, because health, mental health, overall health is a product of our habits and behaviors. Not 100% of the time, but for a lot of people, it's 100% of the situation. Yeah.
What does that mean?
So, there are definitely people who've had certain exposures in their life, like major traumas. You're probably going to have some issues. But then there's a whole massive swath of people, and I think this is the rise, massive swath of people that are just in this space where their habits and behaviors and exposures are not good for them, and they don't even know it. And they're building, it's like building a house on a foundation of sand. It's going to crumble. So if growing up, you spent your time in the basement on the screen, and you were eating processed foods, junk foods, sugary foods, and you just didn't get out there. Like we're all products of like the 80s, 90s. Thereabouts.
No, Saman is not.
I am, yeah, 90s, bro.
You were born in the 90s?
1999, no.
But 99? What year were you
91,
born?
91.
91.
Yeah, it's a different era, right?
No,
Different
but
era. from
everything you're
today.
talking about, like the basement, the processed foods, like that, all
Yeah.
that was my era.
Okay. That's what I mean.
Go on.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will.
I mean, we see a lot more now, and I think we're going to see it more into the future. Whereas when we would get out, face our friends, deal with some hardship, deal with a little bit of stress right there, you know, in that little mini environment, it would prepare us. It would thicken our skin for our future endeavors. But now, like, even if, you know, you have a problem at school, teacher says it's okay. You know, we'll let it slide. You know, so where do you build the resilience?
Don't get me started on that.
That's why I laughed.
It happens so much.
Yeah.
It happens more and more. Like, more you get exposed, and I see it in schools. I have 3 young girls, and they're in schools, and I feel like we do so much of the teaching at home because the common denominator is so low as far as what they're expected to do out there. And how does that test them? How does that build the strength? How does that build their resilience for the future? And the onus is left on us. And so, you know,
But do parents know that, though?
yeah, that's the thing. Some parents don't even necessarily see it. Maybe they do see it. They don't have the resources or the time to deal with it. And so the problem just compounds and compounds and compounds. And then you're faced with it. At some point or another in your life, you are faced with the pressures, and then you don't know what to do. So yeah, we're left sort of seeing that mess and trying to clean it up. Yeah.
And how much of, so you said, you know, the product of your surroundings and so on, right? So that could be attributed to, you know, social media. That could be attributed to, you know, not having a healthy, you know, fitness lifestyle, or I feel like even now with, you know, all these, whether it be cannabis or vaping or whatever that may be, is there more evidence coming out that, you know, some of these, I guess evidence is out there for social media and for, you know, the food, but what about the vaping, the cannabis? It's so accessible now. Like, is there any studies coming out to say that these things perhaps aren't as good for you as, you know, as they're marketed out to be?
I think that's another really good question. So definitely,
2 for 2.
definitely there's exposure. So you're getting to the like tip of the iceberg and beyond. So definitely social media, the evidence is strong that we only see or get this perception of this immaculate, perfect image when we look at social media, and then we think less of ourselves. We're like, oh, what am I doing wrong? How am I so inadequate? And you know, someone our age, we can let that bounce off our skin, but someone who's younger, very impressionable, that leaves an imprint. And then, yeah, now cannabis is legalized. Like, so even if you're underage, it's probably not hard for them. Like when we were young, we could probably get someone to buy some beers for us or something like that. But as far as
Were you the guy that we used to buy the beers for? Sweet your
I had the
beer.
beers at 4 years old, so most definitely.
I think so.
That was my side hustle early on.
Probably.
Young businessman.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, so, you know, so weed goes both ways. You know, for some people, they smoke, they can have a full on anxiety, a panic attack in the moment. Some people smoke weed and they feel relaxed, but both scenarios are potentially problematic. So on obviously the full blown anxiety attack, it's a problem for obvious reasons. But then if you're like, oh yeah, I feel relaxed from that, then you keep on doing it. I feel relaxed. But then again, you're constantly masking your stress response. And if you're constantly masking your stress response, then how do you learn to cope and deal?
Yeah.
And then when does that mask finally come off? And so, yeah, it's a dysregulator. It doesn't allow you to regulate your own emotions, which really, that's the strength. Like that is true strength. You face a problem, you can engage it, you can deal with it without your emotions getting pitched out of whack. And so there's that. And then there's definitely strong evidence especially for young people, on two issues. One, which is more rare, but the rates of schizophrenia are higher in the youth that use cannabis. So that's a bit of a problem. That's like one of your biggest personality disorders.
Yeah, it is.
And then the other one, which doesn't have great treatment, it's like there's a cure for schizophrenia. And then the other is the concept of mood flattening, anhedonia. And so again, the youth that smoke cannabis are much more prone to mood flattening, meaning that when they're not high, it's very hard for them to feel happy.
Wow.
And that's the gift of childhood, right? Like that's like you could get happy over the most like seemingly inconsequential thing, and it could make you happy. And you know, it's over as we get more like grumping as we get older. Maybe we lose that a little bit, but that's a natural course of aging. It takes decades. But so you hold on to it when you got it. I'm looking at you, Will. For sure.
Simon and I are quiet. We're just like,
you know what I'm talking about.
Well, are you saying I'm always happy? Is that possible?
You're always something. Yeah.
You know what?
Can't put my finger on it.
I always say, as a non-parent, I feel very fortunate. I think parenting today, and Joseph behind the camera will be a father in a couple months. Good luck. It's very hard because there are so, when we were kids, I'm going back to when we were kids, or Romi, because we're old, compared to these two. We never had the opportunity to escape with a phone. You could watch a movie, but to watch a movie require us to get out the big TV, the big VCR, the rewinding.
Go down to Video 99.
Yeah, go to Video 99 or Century Home.
And then you have to rewind it. They rewind it.
It's a process. And today, when you want to escape, like that,
fingertips,
right at your fingertips.
How does a parent today when you have all of those easy ways for a child to escape?
Setting an example is one thing. So I see so many parents that they themselves are doing the same thing. They're constantly have the phone on their fingertips. They're constantly escaping into it.
My biggest thing is when you go for dinner in restaurants and all four of them or five of them are on it. Oh, it drives me nuts.
Like, where is the chance for interaction? Where's the chance for bonding? Where's the chance for that emotional connection with your own family? Gone. And that's like the most valuable thing. So when I see it in the parents, it's like, how do the kids have any hope? And then what I see, I'll see this all the time when I go grocery shopping or wherever, and I'll see the kid in the cart with the phone in his hand. And I'm like, right there, that's the picture of addiction right there. And they're forming the pathways of addiction in that toddler's brain in that moment. And it just gets stronger and stronger.
So it's a gateway.
It's a gateway.
So social media 100%. Is a gateway to other drugs.
Yep. To other addictive.
The ganja and other things.
To other addictive behavior. Yeah, exactly. And I get it. Like, I've had screaming kids. They're annoying. And that's not that can be annoying. They are annoying. And so that's a quick escape and you'll do it. But there's a cost to that. Yeah, it's pretty significant. Yeah. So my house, like this is how we ran it. We still run it.
You're two doctors.
Yeah. And so we have that perspective and we see the consequences of it. So that's why we've done this. But we've only ever had one TV, and that's an old TV.
Yes.
42-inch TV. We actually just moved it into the basement. It used to be in the living room. We just moved it into the basement.
Really?
Yeah. So we took it up a notch. But yeah, we limit it. So that's limited that way. So the opportunities are rare right there. And then yeah, in the living room, we have a computer. So the computer is a desktop computer in a common space.
On a laptop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
so we can see what's going on.
That's great.
And we don't have plans to get them a cell phone. It'll happen, obviously. But my oldest daughter, she's in grade 6. And some of her friends have cell phones, but no. We might do an Apple Watch because, you got to have some compromise somewhere. But at least the Apple Watch doesn't have social media on it. So
yeah, they don't get data plans.
Exactly.
Yeah. They just have text.
Yeah, text. And that's why we want it. So that like
when it's school or they're leaving, whatever it is. That's
this kind of thing.
Only reason why we have it.
Yeah. So being sort of strategic that way. And we've talked, like I've told them, I'm like, those screens are like cigarettes. Like, would I give you a cigarette? That's crazy. And they can understand that.
I'm going to use that line actually.
I like that. Yeah.
But do they not have tablets then?
We have a tablet, so it's like a family
tablet for three girls.
Yeah, like we have a tablet. I have a lot of tech gadgets, so like we have like 3 laptops. We have like a tablet. We have the desktop. So there's all sorts of devices around, but they don't belong to any one child. They could use any one of them at any time. And I don't even touch the tablet; just it's in the living room.
Interesting. And then. And what? Sorry, so let's see if you go 3 for 3 here.
This is not going to be a 3 for 3, but that's all by design. Like the consequences of people having their own devices. So this is all by design. So there's no attachment to, a physical device that's going to.
That's right.
Give them any sort
of. That was intentional. Yeah. And so they don't engage on any apps. Like they're not like. They might do Messenger kids, like the Facebook Messenger kids, I think. Yeah. So they might do that, but that's really contained. They'll ask us when they want to get on it. We'll ask who are they chatting with. We'll even put a timer on. Okay, you got 20 minutes, and then have a chat. Like I don't like saying no to them at this age because I don't want to create this sort of dichotomy of like, oh, everyone else gets to do it, I don't get to. Oh, then they'll just sneak around your back and do things. But boundaries and conditions. There's no free reign, anything really. And so, yeah, you can do that. Or they might come home and say, oh, can I have a treat? Well, did you drink all your water today? Yeah, I drink my bottle. Okay, it's empty. Go ahead, have a little treat. But that's the other one. Like we limited screens, and we still do. And the other big limitation we put on, we're more lenient now, but especially when they were young, was sugar.
Yeah.
So talking about addiction, talking about addictive pathways and those neural connections, what do they say? That sugar's as addictive as cocaine?
It is.
Yep.
Yeah. So why? So again, same idea. Why would I give my toddler cocaine? So we were pretty limited. We dialed in. We've let it go a little bit now, but the dialogue is there. So they know what our stance is. They know where we come from. If it's been like, it goes like Halloween and Christmas and Easter, and it just all sort of blends together. A couple of birthdays in between, it all sort of blends together. It's a constant cavalcade of sugar. We'll do hard stops and we'll say, no, this is like 2-week cleanse.
No, meaning like you take away the candy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a hard limit on, for instance, Halloween. It's like 1 candy at lunch, 1 candy after school, and it's a 2-week time limit, and you're done. And they're all thrown in the garbage or wherever they go.
Yeah, no, we're saying we check them all too. Yeah.
You check them all by what? Tasting them?
I give them to Will.
One for you, 2 for me, kind of thing. That's how. Hey, look at me. Interesting. The sugar thing is something that, because you and I, like after playing ball for 12 hours, I would go home and drink a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola.
And grab a big freezy for sure.
Big freezy and all that stuff. And now, that's. I remember when I came out of high school and I was drinking. I used to drink coffee time back in the day. An extra large tea with 3 to 4 sugars in it.
Yeah, not me.
And then, but that's just like, what are you trying to do to your teeth? And then I'm like, so it took me probably close to 10 years. Get it down to what I do now, which is half a sugar or no sugar in my tea. But when you grow up on it, it is very, very hard to break that sugar.
Coca-Cola Classics to this day. I'll see that can and I'll lick my lips. Like
Nothing.
very effective.
Yeah. Because nothing is better than an ice cold Coke on a summer day. Nothing is better than that.
Yeah. Now I'm craving it.
Yeah.
Like, just
I'm
to talk
having
about
one
it.
today.
Pop.
I'm like, his fridge is right there.
Yeah. So on the topic of natural medicine, right? So right now, obviously, there's a lot of hype around the cold plunge, the saunas, the red light therapy, whatever it's called.
I love my red light therapy.
Yeah.
Sauna.
So what's the evidence behind that? Like, what's the whole?
Actually, that's the evidence is strong. So we learned about it in school when the evidence was weak. Like there was no evidence actually on it, and we actually learned hydrotherapy in first year. We actually do. We grab a hose. We go back in. There's a garden in the back of the college. There's a hose back there. And part of one of the learning exercise, we spray each other down. We go through some of the cold exposure stuff. And so I got to say, it was really reassuring to see over the past couple of years that evidence come out pretty strongly in support of it. As far as doing things like managing inflammation, upregulating certain neurotransmitters, and really just opening up your neurology for the day. And it's just such a great way of starting the day. So I'll recommend it to patients for various reasons. One is for like circulation, blood circulation, but also there's another circulatory system I think I talked about a lot. It's called the lymph system. It's a system for your immune system. It's a system for detox as well. So it's helpful for those purposes. When you do a cold exposure, you're increasing your white blood cells. So I do a cold shock shower almost every day, Monday to Friday.
How long?
It's just a few minutes.
And does it have to be as complicated as a tub, or can you just do it in the shower?
Actually, so it does. I mean, the cold plunge is the creme de la creme for sure, but we don't always have access to that. But if you get into the shower, as long as you're getting your jugular vein into that cold exposure, it has very similar properties. Yeah. And you just do it for a minute or two, feel that cold. And then the best way of doing it is actually start with warm in the shower. Start with warm, go warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, cold, finish on the cold. You're doing your warm for about 3 minutes or so. You're doing the cold for a minute or so. Yeah. And that what that does, it's like this pumping effect for that circulation. So under the warm, all the vessels open up. Under the cold, they all start to constrict, and you get this net sort of back and forth pumping.
Because the hard part is going into the cold first.
Yeah,
so if you have to warm yourself up first, then
I'm not that.
I can do it.
Tried And
yes,
and I was
uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, good or uncomfortable, bad?
Initially, I think it depends on the temperature. Like once you start getting close to zero, it's very uncomfortable. Not fun. But the 5-7 degrees, it's manageable. I don't know if I had like a change in mood. It was, it was like when we were at the spa. So it was like just a full relaxing day. So I've never done it where it's like, let me do this first thing in the morning. for a week and let me see if if my mood and like my productivity changes. I haven't done that.
Well, what about infrared saunas? What's your take on those?
So infrared shows benefit for sure on detox, on body tissue repair. Those are probably your two big areas of evidence. So you get the release of heat shock proteins, and where there's been tears in muscles, tears in ligaments,
I use it all the
those
time,
kinds of
so,
things.
yeah.
You get repair on that. So there's definitely benefit there.
So
and even detox. So infrared sauna specifically, you'll get detox. So like for instance, firefighters. If you're a firefighter, you're probably doing sauna. It's a good idea for you, kind of thing. But back to that the cold exposure thing. I think this is my own anecdotal. So I'll do it on Monday to Friday. I go to the gym and I get after I work out.
Which gym?
Lifetime. You know.
It's
I know I like my Lifetime.
Closer to Lifetime, honestly. I go to LA Fitness and it's such a dump. I hate it. I go there.
Well, it makes a difference, right? Like when it's a nice spot, you'll go more often. I think.
Lifetime is nice.
I want to be like a country club. I want to be able to feel like there are so many rules. Like you have to have your shoes tied, at this certain kind of degree. Like I like rules sometimes. I'll pay for that.
Yeah. So I'll do the sauna first, get myself warmed up. I don't think I could do it without that. And then I'll do the cold shower, and I do that religiously on Monday to Friday. And I just say I feel great afterwards, just like, in my skin and stuff like that. And then I'm focused. I just feel so focused for the rest of the day, unwavering. And the days that I miss, then it's like the next day I have a hard time getting out of bed and I have a hard time getting to the next thing. So that's my own kind of anecdotal. So I keep it up.
So your routine is gym, and then once you're done, you do the hot, cold.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Now let's talk about
someone's gonna try this.
So you're going to the gym tomorrow to do this, aren't you? 100%.
Yeah,
other trends in the media when it comes to health. I mean, we've already mentioned mental health. Now let's talk about Ozempic.
I knew he was gonna say that.
You're obsessed with it, bro.
I'm obsessed with it because I'm fat. But no, I'm obsessed with it because that's all you hear, right? That's all you're seeing. You're seeing people that don't even have diabetes, right? One moment they're fat, like me, and the next moment they look like, a model almost, right? They've lost that weight in a matter of months.
Kelly Clarkson.
What she just said the other day, Kelly Clarkson, who I think looks, I'm being ignorant here, I think she looks better fat. Yeah, let's I don't know, edit this out. Who knows? Anyways, but she just said the other day on her show, I had no idea I lost that much weight. And she's trying to say that she did it by like working out. She admitted on her talk show, which is terrible, that she was on Ozempic type drug.
Well, healthy, obesity, being overweight, it's a major detriment to overall health, for sure.
You think so?
Yeah, that's my medical education talking there.
What's the number one killer? Stress or obesity?
I would probably say, though it's hard to quantify, like in the research, I would probably say for all causes, stress. Yeah,
thank you.
Probably is. Yeah.
That's the thing. I went to, I'm sorry to cut you off, Romi. I know you're the guest here. I'm fat. I'm fat. And I have said I've gone through a couple of tests recently because I want to get my health in check for, 50. And so I have 4 years to get this weight off. That's a pretty good target, right? 4 years? Maybe not. Not for you. No. I think 4 years. And the doctor was pretty surprised at how well my blood was. My blood sugars especially. Because I thought I was going to go on Ozempic. So I really went hard over the holidays, and I ate not a whole cake, but over a series of days.
Wait, you're trying to go on Ozempic?
I failed, and so
it's like an episode of Seinfeld over here.
But because my blood sugars were perfect, I had no issues with anything. Right, so
I envy you. For me, as an Indian person, I would probably half the cake. I would get diabetes overnight.
Yeah, like I ate like the cakes and co. Cakes are delicious, and. But they said probably because of how I'm Jamaican, and I don't carry stress. And they're like that, like my mom too, old lady, bigger, no stress, no issues really. And it's just, I think stress is the number one
major contributor. So if like even we're like for unhealthy weight gain, for blood sugar dysregulation, it's this X factor that people don't really talk about. Yeah, physical activity, the way you eat, obviously is going to affect your blood sugar, but the X factor definitely is sugar. I mean, part of me is stress.
Like some people can't afford Ozempic because Ozempic is a ton of money per month if it's available. How does someone get the weight in check?
Yeah. So, okay, just to backtrack to Ozempic. So backtrack to the obesity epidemic, which is an epidemic. Major impact on health. Hard to lose weight. Really hard to lose. It's something that I work with patients on. And it's tough. Like you have to make a commitment. You have to eat in such an austere way. You have to become a gym rat. It's a huge life commitment to do it. If you do it, the rewards are immense, mind you. The rewards are almost incalculable from a health point of view. It's like the best thing you can do for yourself. Ozempic doesn't replace that, right? It'll get the number on the scale down for sure, and you're going to fit in your clothes a little bit better, but it's not like you're growing muscle tissue. Growing of the muscle tissue is really what changes metabolism. It's like your muscles themselves are this massive endocrine gland that secretes chemicals for good health and happiness and for longevity. Ozempic doesn't do any of that. But then Ozempic did do something. It did this like magical thing that drug companies have always wanted to do, is like, can we get people to lose weight with a pill? From day one, as a naturopathic doctor, like, where's the pill for weight loss? And it's like, if that existed, then I would be, driving in my Ferrari on the coast of Maui right now. But now that's what's happening for the drug companies.
Pharmaceuticals,
Big Pharma found that drug, and they're just going to town with it. They're basically printing the money. And that's why the marketing campaign has been through the roof. And that's why we're seeing it so much. The marketing campaign, first of all, I have an eye for this stuff, and I'm sure you do too. That commercial, there's the Rebelsis commercial.
Oh, I hate that commercial so much.
Yeah, so do I. We've seen it so many times now.
Drives you crazy.
And the Ozempic one, it's the same commercial, right? It's these common people, every walk of life, saying, "Oh, you're doing it? Oh, I want to do it too. Oh, what are you guys talking about? At the coffee shop." And like, "Oh yeah, what'd you say?" Oh, and it's just the barista talking to the customer.
Oh, the barista, then, because she gets the Rebelsis in her head, reads off the cup. Rebelsis? Like, I hate that commercial so much. Drives me crazy.
It's the old man in the Ozempic one. He looks so dumbfounded.
Exactly. It's so dumb.
So they with that, whatever they did in those commercials, they nailed it.
Right.
So they really got it into people's consciousness, and to the effect that they couldn't even make enough. Like, it sold out worldwide. So and then doctors started to prescribe it off label, more for the weight loss, less for the blood sugar. And if you have a good relationship with your doctor, or if you have a good drug plan, if you're in the States, you're going to get your hands on it. The other part of Ozempic, so it's not going to, though it's doing something that's hard to do, so and it's not replacing the full benefits of healthy weight loss. The other downside of it that doesn't get talked about a lot is what is healthy weight loss? Healthy weight loss is body fat comes down and musculature increases. That's healthy weight loss. Rebelsis or Ozempic does not do that. In fact, it's weight loss across all parameters: fat, connective tissue, muscles. And I got to tell you, we need our connective tissue. It's kind of important. Yeah. So devil's in the details on that one. Although if
that's
someone is
part 2 of our podcast.
Yeah, we can rename, subtitle it "Devil's in the Details." But I don't want to take too much away from it, because if there's someone who's a diabetic and they're struggling,
huge.
This is probably going to be really helpful for them, and it's probably a viable option for them. And medicine's complicated, it's individualized, so there's definitely people who benefit from that drug.
Awesome. Well, look at that.
Well, thank you so much. That was very informative.
Yeah, Romi, where tell us about your website, socials. Where can we find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, nd_Raina, and my website is ndreina.com. You can get all my information there as well. Hit me up, reach out to me. I'd love to engage and chat. And if people are interested in seeing me as a practitioner, obviously I'm always up for that too.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you,
That was
everyone.
amazing.